up, viewers, and welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Got us a 2009 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited here with a big 3.7 in it. It was dropped off as a no crank, no start obviously, because it doesn't crank. But it came from another shop when they had it there. Apparently the truck did crank, and they claimed they didn't have any fuel pressure, so they put a new pump in it. They get all done with that. They try to start it, and now it doesn't even crank anymore. I don't know what they've done. I see like the air box and stuff is kind of hanging off it, and the battery is about flat. I had my brother come down and help me push it inside, hook the Bosch 625 up to it. I did a full system scan. I'm going to see if that gives us, I'll look at this with you guys, see if that gives us any clue to go by, and take it from there. One thing I did observe, while I've got the battery charger on it here, I have a sore throat today, so don't mind me, and I've got the key on. It sounds like the fuel pump is running like constantly. I can hear it humming in the back. So I guess the good news is maybe the fuel pump works, but why is it running all the time? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm not gonna guess. Let's see if we get any direction from the codes. If not, we're gonna probably just address the starter circuit. Thinking I have a bad starter for all we know, but anyhow, I'm not talking about it. All right, so let's see. We have two codes in the ECM. Auto-Shutdown main sense circuit. Alright, so that's something. Auto-Shutdown relay on a Chrysler is kind of a big deal. Low tire pressure. No codes and everything else. The stuff that's not scanned is probably not our modules that this car doesn't have. That's what I would assume. Nothing looks too important as far as the ones that aren't scanned as far as making it not run or anything. That's interesting though, the 688. You guys can hear it. Let's go listen. Where's the fuel filler? Let's see if we can hear the old fuel pump running in the air. Yeah, I can hear it. I don't know if you guys will be able to. Probably just hear the furnace. Either case, it definitely sounds like the fuel pump is stuck on. There's that damn compressor again. Show you what it does. So it's key off, key on, trying to crank it, holding it in the crank position. I do notice like the clock goes out on the radio when I hold it in the crank position. Pretty normal. We are getting some kind of clicking in the dash. Of course, the blinking check engine light, that just means the monitors aren't done yet. Alright, let's see where we're going to begin. Try to just work with this, or work with you guys through this exactly how I would. So we got the 688, obviously something to do with the auto-shutdown relay. I would say, if it were me, let's see what the code setting criteria is on that. Like I say, auto-shutdown relay is kind of a big deal on a Chrysler. Oh, we're gonna have to turn the key on. Hold on one second. See what we have. 688. Alright, so it's going to be our factory info. That thing out of our way. Hang on, fella. One monitored. Push key on, greater than 10 volts. No voltage sensed at the PCM when the ASD relay is energized. One trip fault. Okay. So that's pretty cut and dry. Keep getting interrupted here. So like I said, it seems to be pretty cut and dry. I guess the ECM is looking for an input when the auto shutdown relay is turned on. OT sensor is set with it. Alright, so let's find our auto shutdown relay. We'll just go right to a wiring diagram. We'll see if it's functioning. I think we should have a bidirectional controller. We can turn that on with the scan tool. It's interesting though, that fuel pump's running. I'm thinking we're not going to find something as simple as it's a bad relay. So we'll go engine controls. I'll just flick through these. I'm not going to zoom in on it. I'm just looking for a relay of any sorts. The oxygen sensors. It's always on your last diagram, never fear. Injectors or something. Oh, here's a relay. What's that one? That is fuel pump relay. Alright. Last diagram, better be here. There's another relay. What's this one? There she is. Auto-Shutdown Relay. Okay, perfect. What else do we have? You see where that comes and goes? Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's just take and we're going to print this out so we don't have to sit here and stare at a screen because it's always easier for me. We'll bring that out. We'll look at it. We'll see what's going on. Holy smokes, too many pages here, fella. Right, so printed out our diagram. I'm not real fond of the way this baby prints. And I've tried multiple print options. Shrink the page, fit the page, all that stuff. Either case, that's not about this. So here's our auto shutdown relay, and if you remember, our code setting criteria stated that the ECM is not detecting the auto shutdown relay being turned on. The only way it can detect it is if, you know, once this relay turns on, this power that comes out, it goes down to, looks like a couple fuses. One of it goes to the integrated power module, or front control module, I guess, and then the red wire goes over, and if we follow the rest of the diagram, it goes to injectors and coils, and then this green wire goes around and ends up coming back to the ECM where it says fuse auto shutdown relay out, right there, and also right there. So it goes to a couple pins on ECM, number 19 and number 28 from the looks of it. So what we need to do first is this relay turning on? Is ECM even turning it on? Because the ECM does turn it on right there, the auto shutdown relay control that goes over and up, that's what, you know, turns the little guy on. So a couple easy tests. You know, is this fuse good? Fuse number 16, it's a 50 ampere. Does that have power? Of course that has to work, so we can check that fuse. And then we can also check these two fuses here at number 40 and 43, both 25 amperes. And that is what that relay turns on. It turns on those little guys right there. However, this relay, if I remember correctly, is not a continuous on relay, but we can go into our special test. We use bidirectional controls. We'll force it to stay on, and we'll check our fuses. None of the under hood stuff is labeled. I'm just going to pop into Mitchell here because I can find it a lot faster than I can find it on the Bosch repair stuff. We're going to get a fuse box layout. Let's see, it's all-wheel drive. Close enough. Let's see. We'll see if we can't get a fuse box layout so we know who's who here, who's what fuse is what, because they're all just numbered and I don't want to go digging for the owner's manual and stuff. Let's see here, let's see if we can find it. Let's see, we were in the power distribution center is where we're going to be. There she is. Where are we at? Auto shutdown relay. And then what fuse number did we say we're going to go to? Number 16, it's supposed to be a 50 ampere. 16 is a 50 ampere right there. Alright. So I've got our test slate. I printed out our fuse box layout. I've also got the scan tool over here, and I was right, you can turn on the auto shutdown relay, so we will turn. I think I clicked the wrong button. That's double start relay. Exit out of there. We want to go to the auto shutdown relay. I like the tool. I'm going to show you one of my least favorite features. This is one I always kind of gripe about. I want to look at data items. They do not let you select your own list. It always makes you want to send this tool flying. So yes, we want to view all data items. We want to select our data items, so we're going to select them. And it's going to bring up just whatever. Have some O2 heater stuff. Alright, I want to look at auto shutdown relay sense, which we can't do, so there's no sense in looking at that. So we're just essentially going to turn it on. It says the current value is on, so we can only assume that if the tool's doing its job, it is turned on. So with that being said, if you guys remember, if this relay is on, these two fuses down here, 40 and 43, it should be hot, real hot. It should be in here. So there's that. And 40 and 43, let's see, 43 is coil actuators, and 40 is injectors. It lays like this. 40, 43. So they're both in there, so that's good. Can you guys even see what's happening? That's where I'm at. So let's just grab our test light. Test light does work. Make sure our fuse box is okay. That one's good. All right, so 40 and 43 are both dead. Okay, let's go right to the relay now. Or actually, I guess we should check our big 50 ampere that feeds it, right? Wasn't there a big one here? Yeah, fuse number 16, 50 ampere. If that's dead, none of them are going to work. Fuse 16, where was that by? That's right up here on the corner. That's this one right here. Let me grab some pliers. There we go. So it's a big J-case fuse, so I just pulled a little plastic lid off. That way we can check both sides of the fuse. Alright, she's not blown. So we know that our big fuse feeding our relay is good. Whether it's making it to the relay or not, we don't know yet. Put the lid back on that. This was the relay, right? Let's see. That is the ASD relay. Let's just see if it clicks. It does not. I'm not getting any clicking out of it whatsoever. So let's see who's the control here. We've got a little diagram on it. Let's see what we can figure out. I'm trying to stay focused for you guys here. Keep getting lots of visitors. We were checking the, or not visit, you know, customers rather. We were checking the auto shutdown relay. I put a relay jumper on it. I took it out so we could see what. That's where we left off. That's what we were doing. We were looking. We were going to test the relay. The scan tool is still hooked up. It's still commanded on. Okay. We'll grab our diagram here. Let's see. So number 30 and 86 should both be hot. Let me get a light so I can see what thunder's going on down here. Let's see. So this is number 30. That has power. Number 86, that has power. Number 87 is the power going out, which there isn't any because this relay is not turning on. And now we need to take our test light, hook it to, well, I guess we can keep it right on ground here. And we'll see if we can turn the relay on ourselves. Number 85 should turn it on. Yeah, there we go. So we know it's not, we know for a fact now that the ECM is not grounding it because we can turn it on. And technically, when we turn it on, these fuses should become active, and they do. All right, see what I'm saying? So what we should do is, well, let me move you guys so you can see a little better. Rule number 1, never ever trust your scan tool any farther than you can throw it. We're gonna cycle the key on and off just to make sure that that light's not lighting up here. So I'm going to X out of the test. I'm going to shut the key off, turn the key back on. We're going to see if this test light lights up. I'm also going to hit it in a crank position just to see what happens here. So that's key off, that's key on, that's crank. Alright, so nothing happened. Just out of curiosity, let's leave this under here gingerly. See if we can do that. Leave that like that. So just see if it cranks when we self-power it. Okay. Nope. Doesn't seem to do anything, does it? Try a couple more things here. Nope. Doesn't do anything. Okay. So that's not it. But why is the ECM not turning this on? I'm curious, if I go back here, if we clear the codes, if it still throws the ASD sense circuit code, if that makes sense to you. So let's just, I'm going to select engine here. I'm just going to let it read the codes out. I'm going to keep this powered up with the key on. I just want to see if that code generates, or if it, you know, comes out of the active list. Okay, so the 688 is still active. I'm going to clear it and get you guys around here. So active codes, we've just got the one for the intake air temp, which I see dangling out of it. I'm going to cycle the key on and off a couple times. Okay, so I've cycled the key a couple times. Let's just read codes. Because what this will tell us that the wire going back to the ECM is good, if that makes sense to you. All right, so let's see. So it threw a 685. So that's interesting. It's seeing that there is definitely something wrong with that circuit. So that would tell me that it's, okay, that's for the control circuit. Okay, never mind. That's because we have the control circuit jumper to ground. So that means, that's good, because that tells us that the control wire from the ECM to this fuse box is good. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to sense it. However, it's still not seeing the input, the 688. It's not seeing the 12 volts making it to the ECM, which is kind of redundant because it's not even attempting to turn it on. So I don't think we're dealing, obviously with a broken wire. I suspect that we have a bad ECM, is going to be my assumption. If I had to take a big fat guess right now. Because the ECM should be turning this thing on. Let's look at some data. Let's make sure it's seeing key input and all that stuff. So I got some data pulled up on our screen. Of course, the key is on. Let's see what data pair we're going to look at. We're going to look at the ignition start switch over there on the left side. It's in the crank position. It switches to on, so it is at least seeing that. Oops, I shut it off too far. Dang it all. And then we have ignition run, start switch filtered state, and it shows that as being on. But like I say, most importantly, the crank status is working. Okay, and that probably stays on for a certain amount of time, ECM controlled starter. Yep, and there it goes back off. So I'll hit the key one more time, hit it, let off it, and then the ECM is going to try to crank the engine for a given amount of time. However, we see here on the auto shutdown sense, it says off. I'm curious to know, if we come back out here, let's see, let me set you guys down here. What happens if we take, so our ASD, that's the sense wire at the ECM. Let's just take and jump our relay again. Let's just set that on there gingerly. Oh, and the status changes to on. So that tells us, let me turn it off, on. So it has the ability to detect the auto shutdown switch or the auto shutdown power going to the ECM. However, it's saying it's not working. I'm saying that little box over there is junk. So I've got the auto shutdown relay turned on right now with the ECM, or with the scan tool. Just want to wiggle on the connectors here just. Sometimes you can tweak these boards just enough to make them turn on. Not the case here. So hopefully we all understood, by shorting, or not shorting I guess, but turning on the relay manually, it set a code for the control circuit, which, like I say, that tells us that the wire that turns that relay on from that relay to here is good. Otherwise it wouldn't have set a code for it. And the same that goes for the sense circuit that tells, the two wires that go in here and say, hey, turn on. Those are good because we could see it on the scan tool. We could see the sense circuit coming through on the scan tool. So all I would do at this point, we can talk to this baby, so I doubt we're dealing with, powers or ground issues, but I'm just going to go through, we're going to double check powers and grounds. I'll probably just do it off camera. You guys see me do that dozens of times. I just want to make sure it's not something ridiculous here. A lot of times on these Chryslers, you come out and wiggle the connectors and get it to come back to life, but the test light is not lighting up over there. Double check powers and grounds, and I'm just going to make the call on the ECM. We'll see if we can get a used one for it. This one is obviously junk, and then hopefully we get the go-ahead. All right, folks, so that's it on the Jeep. I hope the video goes together well. I got interrupted a bazillion times doing it. Needless to say, I had to push that one out because the tow truck just dropped this one off. This Ford doesn't start. It's in here all cockeyed, so hopefully I get it pushed around. Get out of lift. We'll see what's going on with that. Customer did, I called the other shop who dropped it off. They did give the go-ahead on the ECM. I did find a used one. I've got it coming. It's probably not going to be here for a couple days, so that's just going to sit outside. When that shows up, we'll do an ECM replace like we've done in the past. put the pin number in it and all that, and hopefully that all turns out well. Hopefully you understood this video too. If not, have any questions, go down there in that comment box, leave your questions, comments, criticisms, concerns down below. While you're down there, subscribe, ring the bell, you know what to do. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. The very next day. And indeed it is the very next day. So I swapped the ECM out. This is the OG. There's the one from the wrecking yard. I popped it in, put all the stuff back together they had left off up here. I've already gone through and programmed in the SKIN number, secret key number there. You guys have seen me do this before on Chryslers using the launch, where we go through into the wireless control module and do a PCM replace. Pretty simple process. It transfers the VIN, the secret key, all that stuff. The best part is she starts and runs now, so that's good. And then what we can do, we can go on and we can look at, make sure there's no codes in it now. Just got her fired up. There's no codes. So then we can look at, well, whatever it was we wanted to look at. Hang on, fellas. Doing this old fashioned here. I think before in the data stream we were looking at Auto-Shutdown Relay. Where are we at here? ASD sense. Okay. So that's the only data pick we really need to look at. You can see it's off. Let me shut the key off. The key's back on. I'm going to crank it. Ah, the value went dead because I turned the key off. That's no good. Let's back out of here. So we can see that the filtered switch state is on. Yeah, it's not going to like me shutting the key off. Let me just see if that comes back to life. The key is on currently. Well, I tell you what we can do is what we wanted to do with our other scan tool. I'm just showing you, I mean, obviously everything is functioning here. So we're going to go under special tests. Now, you guys remember I was kind of complaining about the Bosch tool because we weren't allowed to pick our data stream. I'm going to show you what I want to pick here. We're going to select up to 10 items here. We're going to pick, where are we at here? Oh, it's already picked for us because it saved it. Okay. So you can see right now the status is off. I'm going to take and turn it on, turn that relay on, and you can see the switch status switch to on. I'm going to switch it over to toggle here. It takes a minute for it to refresh. Then we should see it switching from on to off. So it's off now. Should go back on. Yep. So that's the sense wire going to the ECM saying, hey, the ASD relay is on. Okay. Remember we looked at that the first go around. We've got no codes. I'm just going to take an end out of here. I'm done with this. Don't forget to get your dong here. Hang it out here. Oh, there's a big old sucker on this one. Look at that baby. You can't leave that behind. Yes, you will. So here we are. I just wanted to give you guys some closure, let you know it starts, it runs, it drives, revs up. Needs an oil change according to the thing. Tires are low. But we're done. Alright folks, thanks for watching.